Mm. Mm. Calculator. One's always dying. It's our calculator. I need to buy an actual calculator. Mm. Oh, yeah. I have a calculator. Okay. We can do this. Bye. Have fun. We are answering our practice exam questions. When I highlight with yellow, that means I think I know the answer, and I put down the answer. When I highlight in red, I really don't know the answer and I don't know how to solve it. So that shows me that I definitely need to review those ones. And the yellow, I think I got right, but we'll check. Sorry. Hmm. Hmm. Oh boy. My calculator is too complex. These are being strange again. Okay. I look the way. Now the phone is charged for your brother's calculator because I don't. It's too scientific for me. I don't understand what's going on in this calculator. I don't understand how to work calculators. Okay, I'm dumb. Shh. 36 questions. We're done 14. Ooh. Not taking a break, just a deep breath. Mm. It's very great. Okay, actually, I think I will take a break. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check the answers for the questions I've already done and see how we're doing. Mark them, and then I'll take like 5 minutes, and then we'll continue on with the practice exam. Do like that. Okay, so I've answered 14 questions. I'll show you guys how I did this. I'll leave this here. So these are the sheets from the questions I already answered. So 1 through 14. Answering them on my iPad. What I did was, you guys are gonna be like, oh, you have low confidence. At the top, I put that my highlighted answers in yellow are the ones that I'm like pretty sure are correct. And then the red are things I don't feel confident in. I don't really know the answer. I need to definitely study that question more. So I'm glad I'm doing the practice exam because there's a few of them. I'm just like, I don't know how to solve this, which means I really need to tidy up my studying, because I feel like sometimes when I study, it goes in one ear and out the other. These are confidence colors. Yeah, basically. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Those are the sample exam. I have the answer key in the back, so I'll just mark the ones that I've already done with the answer key. Okay, watch me do even worse than I thought. Ugh, I hope not. I hope we're on the right track with at least the yellow ones. Okie dokie. So question 1, consider the following major macroeconomic relationships where Y is the level of national output or GDP, X level of exports, M is the level of imports, C is the level of household consumption, G is the government expenditures, and I is the investment, which of the following is false. So they put 4 different things. Okay, so it says the answer is A, which I got right. So yay. So I guess I'll just highlight beside it to show that it's right. So this one was pretty simple, because I know that the calculation for GDP with that information is Y equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M. So basically I just plugged in my own numbers. So I know that Y has to equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M, right? So I used the example, so I made Y equal 10, and then C, I, and G were all 2, X was 6, and then M was 2, because that equals 10, which would equal Y. So then I just plugged in those numbers for each of these to find out which one was not correct, and it was A. I did solve all of them, even though I saw that A was incorrect, just in case I somehow messed up. I wanted to make extra sure that it was A. Okay. 2, I'm honestly very confused with the diagrams, but let's see if we got this right. Diagram below shows the circular flow of expenditure and income for the economy of woodland. So there's circle. During 2020, A was 100, B was 50, C was 30, and D was 10. What was the GDP of woodland in 2020? I chose C and I think I have to use the expenditures. I think those are B, C, and D. I think E is not included because it looks to be imports, which is subtracted from the GDP equation. A looks to be expenses related to unfinished products. I was a little bit confused by A, to be honest. I don't know. Oh, answer is D. It says not sufficient info to use the expenditure approach. Use the income approach. Oh, so which one was our income? Well, it says D is 100. So A is 100. Oh, so I guess it was literally you only use the number for A. Firms, factor markets, and income. See, I need to tidy up on that because I wouldn't have even thought that firms to factor markets to households, or income. Well, actually, now that I say it out loud, I guess that would make sense because the factor market is usually like the need for labor, I believe. So if you have labor, then that's how households gain income. I guess I should have noticed that. Okay, anyways, so that's how you answer that. That was wrong. Let's put a red highlight on this. Oh, no, that approach is not gonna work. Let me do something else. Okay, I'll just put an X for a check mark, like duh. I don't know why I'm thinking about this so hard. Let's make it thicker though. Okay, so that's a check mark. This is an X. So sad already. Okay. 3. All right. 3 is on the next page. Suppose the following data was reported for the economy of Crisiata in 2020. The data looks like this. That's that table with the numbers there. Factor equals land, labor, and capital. Dang. Thank you. You're actually very helpful. What was the gross domestic product of Crisiata in 2020? It says the answer is A. I put D, so I'm wrong. Okay, let's see why. So it should have been 2,400. So what I did was I put in consumption expenditure, government expenditure, and net exports as like expensive. Oh, that wouldn't even work. Net exports. Oh, because I thought consumption expenditures would be C, government expenditures on goods and services would be G, net exports X, and then I just assumed there was no information for M or I, which I guess would be silly. And then I got the total of 1940, which is answer D. So let's see what would have been added so that we can understand arena measurements inside the arena. Factor market equals the arena. Labor metrics equals the measurements inside. Now you lost me. I need to think about that some more so I understand what you're saying. I have a hard time, I feel like people need to explain things 30 different ways to me before I really understand it. Okay, let's figure out 3 really quickly. So it says that the answer should be 2,400. So let's see what that could be of. So that would be 600, 7, 8. Like that. 1,500. Oh, wait, what? 1,600. 2,500. I wonder if it's those. Is it those? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 2,400 though? Wages. Okay, let's look at that one. 1,350. 1,400. Oh, okay, let's write it on the paper. Don't mess this up. Hello. Two 30. That would be 800. $1,450. 5, 11, to 150. So 250 more depreciation. So that was wages. And other and indirect taxes. Wages. And then what did I add just now? 250 depreciation. plus 240, 400. Does that even make sense though? Other factor incomes, indirect taxes, depreciation. I'm struggling. Okay, we definitely need to come back to that. Okay. Anyways. Okay, we'll put that on the notes. I need another sheet. Earlier we're drawing roll. Okay, let's check the answer for 4. 4, I put E. Okay, anyways, the maximum level of real GDP that can be produced while avoiding shortages of labor, capital, land, and entrepreneurial ability that would raise inflation is, I don't remember even going through this in the textbook yet. But the options are real GDP, nominal GDP, actual GDP, potential GDP, or productive GDP. I put E, productive GDP, because it sounds right. I have no proof. Okay. And the answer is D, potential GDP. Whoops. Okay, so another X. We are not doing well. We are not doing well. So far I got 1 right. Okay. 5. In a country with a working age population of 20 million, 13 million are employed and 1.5 million are unemployed. 1 million of the employed are working part-time, but half these people wish to work full-time. What is the size of the labor force? Options are 20 million, 15.5 million, 14.5 million, 13 million, and 11.5 million. I put C, which is 14.5 million. And I put the reason as I believe the labor force is anyone employed regardless of part-time or full-time. Yes, which would be 14.5 million. And that answer is correct. Thank God. I'm really struggling. Okay, now we have 2 answers which I highlighted red, which means I have no idea if I'm right or wrong. Basically just guessing. So 7, I put C. I have no idea how to solve it. Wait, it must appear. 6, 5. Oh, I checked off the wrong one. Oops, I missed a. Okay, we're actually not at 7 yet. Okay, so 5 was correct. Okay, so let's go to question 6. Okay, if the CPI was 128 at the end of 2020 and 136 at the end of 2021, what was the inflation rate in 2021? Options are 4.2%, 5.9%, 6.25%, 8%, and 9.4%. Okay, so my answer, I put B. I'm pretty sure I calculated this wrong because when I put it, I put CPI year 1 minus CPI year 2 over CPI year 2 times 100. But I'm kind of thinking it's actually CPI year 2 minus CPI year 1. Anyways, I got the answer 5.88, which if you round it is 5.9. So I answered 5.9. Okay, and which would have been B. Unfortunately, the answer is C, 6.25%. Okay, so let's figure out what I did wrong because this one should be easy to figure out on the spot. So let's put X first of all. And then let's find out. So if I reverse the numbers, is that what the problem is? So let's do, where's my losing stuff? Losing stuff. Okay. Using my other phone. That's calculator. Okay, so let's exchange the numbers. Okay. And still no. Okay, so it should be minus. I don't even get that. Oh, okay, so yeah. What I thought I did wrong is exactly what I did wrong. So instead of CPI year one minus CPI year two over CPI year two, it's actually supposed to be CPI year one minus CPI year two over CPI year one. Okay. Let me put that in the box here. I'll put formula is actually let me just make sure. This is not plugged in. What the hell? One minus two over CPI year one. Okay, let me just make absolutely sure that's correct. Right. 128 divided by, or sorry, not divided by 128 minus 136. Oh my god. 128 minus 136 equals minus 8 divided by 128 equals negative times 100 equals, that's not negative. Oh, I'm crazy. 136 minus 128 equals divided by 128. Okay, I'm really confusing myself. But anyways, this is also wrong. So I need to actually change around the whole thing. I'm just a little dumb. Okay, let's just, yeah, move it over here. Okay, so it's actually CPI year 2 minus CPI year 1. Okay, over CPI year. Oh, I don't even have. I need to keep rewriting this so it's proper. Oh my god, I don't have space. Oh my god. Okay. CPI year 2 minus CPI year 1 over CPI year 1 times 100. Okay, let's just double check one last time before I go nuts. Okay, so CPI year 2 is 136 minus 128, which is year 1, equals 8 divided by year 1, which is 128, equals 0.0625 times 100 equals 6.25, which is our answer C. Okay, yes. So that is the actual real formula. Oh my god, thanks for staying with me, guys. I don't know how you guys deal with me. Thanks for learning with me, though. Learning is hard. Learning is so hard. But we can do it if we try. Okay, yay. I'm so glad we did that. That's very interesting. Okay, give me a second. I need to plug in my other phone so that I can use the calculator before I types. Where is the charger? Oh, it's right there. These are cold. Oops. Watch that last for like 5 minutes and I'm gonna go crazy. Oh, lovely. Okay, that's just not good. It's not going to work, so we're just gonna leave that alone before I go crazy. My sitting desk is in a weirdly tight corner, but it works. Other than getting in and out, it's kind of like irritating. Okay, you guys are talking about some interesting stuff. All right. Anyways, let's check the rest of the answers. Okay, 7 is the one that I said I had no idea and I just took a little guessy guess. Okay. I said no idea how to solve. But the question is, suppose country X's current growth rate of real GDP per person is 1% per year. How long will it take to double real GDP per person for this country? I answered C, which is 70 years. That was honestly just a little guessy guess because I was trying to figure out the calculation in my head, like how to calculate it efficiently. I couldn't really figure it out. But um, my thought process was kind of that if the growth rate is 1% per year, obviously it won't take 100 years just because you have to add the growth from last year to calculate the percentage of this year. So it kind of like stacks on, right? So it should take less than 100 years. But it'll also take a really long time because by 100 years it should have more than doubled. See you later. But 35 years sounded too short, so I just went with 70 as a guess. So that is a question that I got right, but I do actually need to study that anyways because that was just a fun little guess. Yes. So I get to check that off as correct, but I still need to study it. 8, I didn't even guess. I put no idea to this, and that's an increase in labor hours will lead to. The answers are an upward shift of the aggregate production function, a movement along the aggregate production function, both a movement along an upward shift of the aggregate production function, neither a movement along nor a shift of the aggregate production function, a downward shift of the aggregate production function. That's a lot to say, okay? It says the answer is B. So that means that an increase in labor hours will lead to. B is a movement along the aggregate production function. And C, I think I would have assumed it was A, an upward shift of the aggregate. And that's why I had no real guess. Okay, so I'm just gonna put an X even though I didn't really answer because obviously I didn't have an answer. Anyways, 9. The question is, ceteris paribus, an increase in labor productivity results in a, the answers are A, higher real wage rate and higher potential GDP per hour of labor. B, lower real wage rate and higher potential GDP per hour of labor. C, higher real wage rate and lower potential GDP per hour of labor. D, lower real wage rate and lower potential GDP per hour of labor. E, constant real wage rate in the long run. I put B, and the answer is actually A. So it means an increase in labor productivity results in higher real wage rate, and higher potential GDP per hour labor. I thought it would lower the real rate. Oh my god, I can't speak. Lower the real wage rate and higher the potential GDP per hour of labor. So that is wrong. Got a lot to study. Okay, 10. If the nominal interest rate is 7% and the inflation rate is 9%, then the real interest rate is A, 2%, B, 1.29, C, 0.78%, D, 16%, E, negative 2%. All right. 10 was a guess. I put A. That is incorrect. The answer is E. So A, I thought it was 2%. It's actually E, which is negative 2%. Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. So, do 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 do. 11. Oh, okay. Oh, that's so funny. The other half of the stapled answer key is at starts at 15, and that's actually where I stopped answering. So I'm just gonna flip that over so I can see it. And then this will take us to the end of what we've already answered. Okay. In 2021, country X had net taxes of 30 million, government expenditures of 35 million. Private savings in country A is 5 million, and consumption expenditure in is 80 million. The government of country X is running a budget blank, and national savings is blank. So the possible answers are A, surplus, and 5 million. B, deficit and negative 5 million. C, deficit and 5 million. D, surplus and 25 million. E, deficit and 0. Okay, so I answered B, and then I put in the notes, I would think, and what does country A matter? Because I didn't see the relevance of country A in this question, but I would need to check if there is a relevance. Okay, but the answer is B, so I'm correct. So maybe they just put it in there to trick me, or maybe there could be relevance in other situations, but yeah, that means that it is a deficit. So country X is running a budget deficit, and national savings is negative 5 million. Okay, so that's right. Okay, so the next two questions, I had no clue how to answer these, so I definitely need to study these, but let's see. A bank can create money by selling some of its securities, increasing its reserves, lending its excess reserves, printing more checks, or converting reserves into securities. I put A, but I have no clue. The answer is actually C, which is lending its excess reserves. That was actually my second guess, and I almost put that. I wish I did. But anyways, it would have been a guess either way. So X. 13 also was a guess. I have no clue, and I don't know the formula. That's what I put on my notes. But I answered C. Okay, so let's read the question. So real GDP is 3,250 billion. Quantity of money is 1,200 billion, and the velocity of circulation is 3. Then the GDP deflator is A, 90.28, B, 3,600, C, 270.83, D, 3,200, or E, 110.77. I answered C. Again, that was a guess. The actual answer is E, 110.77. Okay, and the last question that I answered for this. Are you a college student? Yes, I am. And hello. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, suppose that the following situation exists in foreign exchange market. 1 Canadian dollar buys 7.2 Chinese yuan, and one, is it won or yen? Well, yen would be yen, so I guess won. Anyways, and 1 Canadian dollar buys 5.77 South African rand. How many won will buy 1 rand? Will 1 rand buy? Um, okay, so I put in my notes how I solved this, just in case I'm right or I'm wrong. Then I could look back and see what is the flaw in how I came up with that answer. So I'll read that. I assume to solve, um, this question, I divide 1 Canadian by how many of the other currency that 1 Canadian gets you. So if I look back at my written scratch paper here, where is it? Okay. So I took 5.77, or okay, so I took 1 divided by 5.77, and that got me 0.173 Canadian. So 0.173 Canadian equals 1 rand. But then we need to find out um, how many won will buy 1 rand. So then I took um, the 7.2 Chinese won and the Canadian won. So I did 1 Canadian divided by 7.2 Chinese won to get the cost of 1 won in Canadian, which is 0.139 Canadian equals 1 won. That's what I got. And then what did I do here? I'm confusing myself. Mhm. Currencies. Take the currency you want to exchange and divide by the currency you want to acquire. Okay, so that means what I did was how many won? So I want to get one. So that means I did the rand divided by the won, but in Canadian dollars. So I took 0.73 divided by 0.139 because now we're converting it in Canadian. They're equal. And I got B 1.25, which was correct. Okay. I don't explaining the train of thought is so hard, but it is correct. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. So let's go back and see how much of this we got right and wrong. I think most of it we got wrong. So there is a lot of studying to do. What course is that? This is macroeconomics. Yeah, it's very boring, so I'm having a really hard time focusing. So this is kind of why we're doing this. It kind of helps me to speak out what I'm thinking too. Okay. So the first question we got right. We're just going to count the things we got right. Okay. So number 5 we got right. Number 7 we got right. That was a guess. 11 we got right, and 14. So out of 14, we only got 5 right. So that's a fail. We're failing. we're failing. Really bad. So what I'm going to do now is take a quick little break, and then I will take the questions I got wrong, and then I'm going to look them up and find out how I'm supposed to solve these questions, and then see if I can come to understand them. And then later, I'm going to take the rest of the practice exam. I think I'm going to split them in thirds. So that was 1/3, because like 36 questions, so just a little bit more than 1/3. So we'll probably do like 10 or 11 more, and then do the same process, answer them, find out if I got them right or wrong, and then go back and figure out what I got wrong. And then with that, after like figuring out how to actually do it, I'm going to go back and see if I can answer similar questions tomorrow, like if I actually maintained the knowledge or if it just blooped and left. So yeah, let me actually, first one I saw. Yeah, well, I'm not that smart because I got most of this wrong. But that being said, I'm just having a really hard time with concentrating. Like I read things and it just goes out of my brain because I'm not finding it very interesting. So I'm hoping that doing it this way will kind of keep me aligned. So this is the sample examination key, the rest of the key. Okay, so let me organize what I'm actually going to do later. So this is where we left off. So I think what I'll do, okay, so I'm going to take a break, like I said. Then I'm going to study the things that I got wrong, which is most of it. Okay. Take notes on those. And then later in the day, because obviously I'm going to take another break after that, I'm going to go back and answer the rest of the multiple choice questions, which are conveniently 15 questions. So it's pretty even. And then I'm going to do the same process, check them, go over what I don't understand, which will probably be most of it. And then tomorrow, well, we'll have short answer questions as well. There's 6 of them. So I'm going to do that same process. I'm going to answer the short answer. See what I did right and wrong. And then tomorrow, we're going to see if I can answer similar questions, like if I actually maintained the knowledge or not. So it's going to be like a rinse and repeat type of situation. Oh shit, do I have a stapler? I don't have a stapler. Such a mess. Okay, anyways, maybe I'll just separate them with these folders, right? So this is the next thing I need to answer for. And then part 3. Let me write on these. Part 2. I'll put the part that I already answered in here. That's part 1. Okay, and then I'll take, since I already did part 1, the answer key for part 1 can go with it. Because I'll need it to study. Part 1. Okay. So these are for later, so I'm going to put them on the side here. I know that these are not my business right now. I don't have to look at those until later. Okay. This can stay. I'm going to put my laptop under because it's just taking up space. Okay, that's just paper. Oh, that's the answer key. Okay, let's put the answer key down here. Take my laptop out, put it under here. Okay. Okay, our desk is a little bit tidier, and yeah, that is part 1. Let's add the name. Part 1 of 3. Done. Why can't I name it? What do you mean? Okay, whatever. Just put practice like 101. Okay. Respect my concentration. Thank you so much. Okay. I also have the Jacob Clifford Ultimate Review Package. You can barely see this on my iPad. But Excel's a review package for you to like go over. But so I'll also be working on that. I downloaded the file so that I can fill it out on my iPad. I like everything being in there because I tend to lose things very quickly, and then things are everywhere. I don't even like the fact that I have to print these, but it's honestly easier for me to have these printed. But that's why I tried to organize them right away, because otherwise it's gonna be chaos. It's gonna be chaos for me. Yes, I already started answering some of these questions. Yes, this is good because I definitely need to work on things like graphs. Okay, let's see if I can finish up these questions and then I'll take my break. Or if it's just too much, let me drink some water. There are two types of comparative advantage questions. Blank questions and blank questions. What does that mean? There's absolute advantage and comparative advantage, but what? I don't know what the answer is for that. Okay, anyways. Table shows the number of planes and cars each country can make with the same number of resources. Which country has an absolute advantage in planes? Okay, so absolute advantage is just who can actually, thanks so much, guys, who can actually make more, like numerically wise, who can actually produce more. So for planes, that is Germany. Okay. What is Lily's opportunity car cost for producing one car? Okay, so if they can produce 40 cars or 10 planes, to calculate the opportunity cost for doing one car. So 10 planes for each 40 cars. So if we want to divide, okay, we just have to divide 10 by 40, so 0.25. I think it's 0.25, right? Sometimes I doubt my math, but sometimes my math works a little too quickly, and I can't tell if that's the correct math or if I just made that up. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'm perfectly on the ball, but I just don't know why, because my brain went a little too quickly and I didn't actually like think about the calculation I used. I just bam, right? So I'd be confused. Caitlin, Hannah Bass. Um, you should learn. Okay, so 10 divided by 40 should be 0.25, right? Yes. I'm pretty sure that would be how you calculate that, right? 0.25 planes is the cost, is the opportunity cost. Which country has a comparative advantage in producing planes? So, comparative advantage is calculated by finding out what the opportunity cost for each country is in the respective fields. Um, so, we've decided that to produce one car, you're giving up 0.25 planes. Wait, is that right? I think that's right. Oh my god, I'm really struggling. Oh my god. Okay. So, comparative advantage means that you're giving up less of the other thing to do that. Okay, so let's find out. So, by that calculation, let's find out 25 divided by 50 should be 2. Or sorry, it's 0.5. I'm dumb. Yeah, okay, anyways. So that is 0.5 planes. So I would say that Italy has the comparative advantage. Oh, no, no, no. No, Germany has the comparative advantage because they give up. Oh my god. Do I have to do it the other way? Am I dumb? I think I'm dumb. 40 divided by 10 is 4. 50 divided by 25 is 2. 4 and 2. So to make a plane, okay, and then 0.5 and 0.25. Okay, no, it's still Germany. Still Germany. Germany, because they give up less cars to produce planes. Identify the terms of trade that can benefit both countries. This, I'm always just like, my brain is smoking out of my ears. So you don't understand. I look calm. I'm actually like dying inside. Hmm. Germany does. One plane would be 3. because it's in between what they would get and lose. See? I don't know, guys. Okay. Bill shows the number of hours it takes to produce 1 ton of beef for 1 boat. Hours. See, and I haven't paid attention a lot to the hours kinds of questions. Okay, so 20 hour. Okay, so Chile for a ton of beef takes 20 hours. And for 1 boat, it takes 60 hours. For Brazil, for a ton of beef, it takes 10 hours, and for 1 boat, it takes 20 hours. Which country has an absolute advantage in beef? Okay, so absolute advantage would be who takes less time to produce the ton of beef. Should be Brazil. It takes 10 hours as opposed to Chile's 20. What is Chile's opportunity cost for producing beef? So I would do 20 divided by 60. Or sorry. Is that right? No, I do 60 divided by 20. So 3. Oh no, no, that's not right. It takes longer. Opportunity cost for caught. So it'd be negative. What is Chile's opportunity cost for producing beef? Do I answer that in hours? I guess it would be -3 hours. I feel like that's wrong, but that's what we're gonna put. Which country has a comparative advantage in producing boats? So comparative advantage is how much time we're giving out comparatively. Comparative advantage in producing boats. Okay, so Brazil obviously takes a lot less time. It takes them 1/3 of the time that it takes Chile. 3 times the time, right? Also, 1 boat takes 3 times the time it does to produce beef. But Brazil, it's only 2 times the time to produce a boat than it is to produce beef. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. So if we were to use 60 hours instead of 20, we would actually produce 3 boats in Brazil. Oh, you know what? I'm confusing myself. Right? And 2046. I'm confused. What did I just do here? We were to spend 20 hours on beef. That would be 2 times 3x. Okay, so what I've gathered is Brazil has a comparative advantage in boats because they lose less beef, or sorry, they lose less hours to beef if they produce boats, because they produce boats comparatively quickly. I think, you know, identify the terms of trade that can benefit both countries. Okay, one boat, blank, tons of beef. Okay, so let's get rid of this part. 60 hours. So let's say we spent 60 hours on boats. We would have 3 boats. Um, if we spent 20 hours on beef, we'd have 2 tons of beef. Or should we make it all 60? So 60 hours would be 3, and 60 hours here would be 6, right? So who's making the beef? Oh my god. So how much beef are we giving Brazil? For one boat? Well, one boat, 6 boats an hour. And they're gonna make how did I get that? Am I crazy? Am I going nuts? Okay, one boat takes 60 hours. Mm. Okay, so I think we have to reduce it back down to 20, right? 20 hours for one boat. How many tons of beef in 20 hours? Got one. One beef. Okay, you know what? I have no idea. I have no idea. Do 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 do. Hi. Hello. Sorry, I've been locked in, and doing very poorly. Okay. I'm not even gonna finish answering these ones. I'm just gonna go ahead and check the answers for 1.3. So I think I have it in my email. Oh, I think I have to go to the website, which means I have to bring the laptop back out. Alrighty. It's a very crowded space, guys. It's like quite the mission right now. Do 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 do. Okay. Ultimate review pack. Okay. Sign in. Okay. Answer key. Let's check. 1.3. Oh, the answers for that one were output and input. Okay, that should have been obvious actually. I don't know why my brain blanked there. Okay. So let's go to this side. Italy, Germany questions. Okay, it says this is an output question. That's good to know. Output Q. Okay. Which country has an absolute advantage in planes? Germany. Correct, because they can produce more planes than Italy. 25 to 10. Yes. What is Italy's opportunity cost for producing one car? A quarter of a plane. That's correct. Which country has comparative advantage in producing planes and explain? I put Germany because they give up less cars to produce planes. Yes. It says Germany has comparative advantage in producing planes because it has a lower opportunity cost, which is basically the same answer. Okay, 14, this little part on the bottom. Identify the terms of trade that can benefit both country. One plane for three cars. I kind of just guessed that is the in-between number. I don't actually know how to calculate that properly, so I do need to look back at that. Oh, gang, great. But it is correct for one plane for three cars, which is what I put. Okay, let's go to this side, which is our input question. 12. Okay, which is like how many hours are we inputting? Okay. The table shows the number of hours it takes to produce 1 ton of beef or one boat. Okay. Which country has an absolute advantage in beef? I put Brazil because absolute advantage is about who can produce more given the same amount of time. And that's Brazil. What is Chile's opportunity cost for producing beef? I put -3 hours. Okay, I answered that wrong. So I should have answered it. What am I physically losing for producing beef instead of the hours I produced? So that would have been 1/3 boat. Okay, let's erase that and put 1, 3. Okay, and let's check cost producing beef. And that's because Chile only produces one boat in 60 hours, but they produce 3 tons of beef in 60 hours. So obviously, if you can produce 3 tons of beef, divide that. Sorry, divide one boat by 3. It's 1/3. Yes. Okay, we have to think about why the answer is the answer so we can brain it in our brain. Anyways, which country has a comparative advantage in producing boats? Explain. I put Brazil. Let's check. Yes, Brazil has a comparative advantage in producing boats because it has a lower opportunity cost. Two 2 tons of beef as opposed to 3 tons of beef that Chile would have produced. Okay, Identify the terms of trade that can benefit both countries. I'm very confused by this question. This one's a little bit harder for me. I need to figure out how I'm supposed to calculate this. I left it blank. The answer is 2.5 tons of beef. Any number between 2 and 3 is correct. Oh, okay. So that's what I was kind of thinking. It's like a number between X and Z, essentially. And that's what it's saying for both answers is any number between that number and that number. Um, so yes, one boat for tons of beef. Okay, one boat. Okay, and that's basically boat because one boat costs Brazil 2 beef, and then one boat costs Chile 3 beef. So anything in between that is kind of an advantage to both countries. And then let's see, on the other side, was that exactly the same? One plane for 3 cars. So one plane costs 4 cars, yep. And then one place costs 2 cars. So it's basically anything in between that. Okay, that makes sense. I think I understand that now. So 5, all right. And then the rest we'll answer later. And we didn't even finish the Unit 1 review packet. We still have 2 more pages of the packet to review. Well, not 2 more pages. We have point 4, point 5, and point 6. So we're like halfway through that review packet. And then we're a third of the way through our practice exam. Yeah. So I'm going to take a break. Not yet. Oh my goodness. I'm going to take a break now. My head hurts. Then when we come back, well, I don't know if I'm going to come back with you guys. I might just do it on my own. I'm going to review all the questions I got wrong in the first part of the practice exam, and make sure I understand how I'm supposed to answer those questions. All right, see you guys. Bye bye.